Is this thing on now? Look at that. Is this thing on? Welcome. Welcome, one and all. We're going to try to get started here in this MODPOD working group for IETF 124 in the hopes that this is going to be a brief meeting. We don't have a lot to discuss today, actually. And a lot of us, I myself, I drove here. And so, I'm going to drive away as soon as this meeting is over. And so the sooner we end, the better off for me, at least. There's a couple introductory remarks here. You may want to note these things that you see on the slide before you on the off chance that this is the first IETF meeting you have attended this week or indeed ever. And even more so, note the following, which is something that the participants in this working group, I think, should be very familiar with at this point. And, I don't think anybody here really needs meeting tips anymore, but this is the template that they suggest that we use for this. And so we're displaying all of it. We don't have a lot to do, like I said, which is good because we're basically done with our part of the work here. Yes? Round of applause. And yes, we have two people, the chairs would like to really acknowledge for that, and that would be Elliot Lear and Lars Eckert for the work that they have done. Just work on the mailing list that is above and beyond the typical call of duty for IETF participants. So thank you to Elliot and Lars as well. Little round of applause, please, from us here. All we're going to do really here is talk about what has happened after working group last call. Now that the document has gone up to our responsible area director, he had a few comments, and that is the scope of the discussion here today. We are not here to relitigate any issue from the working group as such. Let's just talk about what the comments are, how they're being addressed, and what will get us to IETF last call. Yeah, yes. Nothing out of you about this, please. And so with that, I would like to invite Elliot to come up, and I will share a different presentation. You may have a clicker if you'd like, Elliot.
Thank you. Let's see here. Good morning, everyone. I am Elliot, your censor in chief. Okay. Let's see here. Hello.
I can advance you.
Yeah, go ahead. There's only 2 slides.
Yeah.
All right. So we took essentially 2 sets of changes for post-working group last call. One was a series of editorial changes that actually occurred just past working group last call from John Clenson, which were all editorial. And I said I would take those editorially in the next version with Lars, and he said that was fine. And the second is Roman's review. So there are 1 or 2 things we didn't accept in as editorial in John's review. The one thing, he basically had a lengthy alternative approach for doing all of this, which I decided was not editorial. The rest of it is pretty much what you see. So there was most of which was all just slight rewording. And John was actually very helpful in that regard, and just in terms of improving readability. So the first is in the section where we talk about rescinding actions, the question was whether you had to refer to the entire team or to the members of the moderation team when talking about rescinding actions. And the idea basically is you should go talk to the person who actually performed the action in the first place, or persons, however that works out. And so that's editorial and somewhat more clear. The second was from Roman, which was please add a reference to section 6.4 of RFC 2418. And this is about Pete's suggestion that we make sure that we have the chairs are able to delegate to specific individuals for managing moderation. It's not directly, and Roman's point was that it's not a direct analogy like in 2418, but so the words that we use are something like in the vein of to match that. Now that text may come back to us at some point, depending on what happens in ProCom. But as it is, this is what it is. Then it was a reword for clarity, the development moderation processes. This was just a rewording of the sentence without any semantic change. It was just that it was awkwardly phrased. And you can see that for yourself in terms of how in the current draft. But the intent was no semantic changes for pretty much any of these, except for one, and I'll get to that. Then there was a comment about, are we talking about processes or procedures? Could you please be consistent? And so I flipped a coin in my head and chose processes. It may be the wrong one, but that we might flip it back in a later editorial revision. But if anybody has any comments, I'd be happy to take it. I honestly don't. I don't mind the consistency.
It is in the draft title.
Yeah. So there you have it. Then we did a reword for clarity again for reporting requirements or restrictions. Again, this was text pretty much from John Clenson. Again, no semantic change. It's exact same semantics, or at least the exact same intended semantics. The next change was we removed the IETF section at Roman's suggestion, and this actually follows Housley's law, in which the draft is not complete until every last word that can be taken out has been taken out. So credit where credit is due. John asked the one non-semantic change, the one semantic change, which isn't really, I mean, it's not a protocol. So, but John wanted to make clear that even if he was listed in the acknowledgements, that doesn't necessarily mean that he supports the work. But since he actually did provide good editorial suggestions, I would feel bad if he wasn't listed. And we did add a caveat that just because someone's listed doesn't mean they support the work. And then finally, we removed a redundant statement in the appendix that John pointed out. And that was just a slight rewording. It was in the appendix. It's non-normative to begin with, as far as I'm concerned. But the change itself is, since it's redundant, there's really no semantic changes at all. And that is all the changes that I made. I invite everyone to take a look at the diff between versions. It's only a little bit noisy because of the procedures to processes, but not in any serious way. And with that, next slide. Thank you. So first of all, thanks to everybody who provided comments and reviews. This was very much a group effort. And I think the next step at this point, Roman, is to you in terms of proceeding the document, assuming nobody has objections to the editorial changes. Thank you.
Thank you again, Elliot. And Roman, did you have a?
Yeah, I was could not unlock. Someone tall here was before me. I was unable to kind of unlock, so I want to open with kind of thank you for all of the work to get it through working group last call, get it to me. Please tell me how I can be most helpful, because it sounds like, is there a new document for me to look at? Okay, so I have not noticed that there's a new document. I will check that my AD feedback is there in an expeditious fashion, and then I will, assuming those are adjudicated, I will send it for IETF last call, and we can keep the document moving. I mean, anything you need.
Well, before you came in, Roman, we did suggest this was going to be a short meeting. So I don't think there's going to be much else to discuss here, but the queue is open. If anyone would like to comment at all on any of the things that Elliot was just discussing, or indeed anything else other than things that we are not going to relitigate today. Mr. Resnick, please.
So, Pete Resnick, the only thing, and I mentioned it on the list, and I just want to get more Roman's reaction and maybe others, was the process procedures one, and absolutely not a hill I'm going to die on. If everybody's okay, I would have flipped it the other way, and let me tell you why, and then everybody can say no, you're fine. Which is, process sounds a little policy to me. There was a lot of complaining about, we're setting a policy that's doing this and that and the other thing, and procedure sounds like something that an assigned group could do, but setting IETF process or IETF policy sounds iffy. And if everybody goes, nah, I don't think the usual suspects will come out of the woodwork and whine too loudly about that, cool, but I wanted to put it out there.
Elliot from the mic.
Okay, so if anybody wants to support Pete's suggestion, that's fine. If there's sufficient support, what I propose is that when we get 80, when it comes back from the ISG or IETF, I'll just flip it at that point, unless Roman needs something changed before then, in which case I'll tackle it sooner. Okay.
I'm logged in, so I wanted to queue up. No, I do not. I mean, from my perspective, I consider the document done pending adjudication as AD review and pending adjudication for the future last call feedback, which has not yet happened. So I would urge the working group to. It was very difficult. It was a lot of consensus building to get to the text. And if we got to work a successful working group last call, I would not touch a single word beyond perhaps, well, beyond reacting to my AD, don't touch a single word except for the things I asked for, with the privileged position I have and whatever the IETF last call kind of says. I mean, consensus is hard. We got here. Let's not futz with it. And the difference between the words, it's an RFC with BCP kind of status. So like it carries the weight of a BCP.
Yes,
John Scudder. Yeah, I don't really care if you change it or not. I find Pete's argument mildly persuasive, but also Roman's. My one comment would be, if you're going to change it, do it before IETF last call, because if people are going to come out of the woodwork, that's when they're going to come out of the woodwork.
Okay. All right. Do other people agree with Pete? And I'm not seeing. Okay, I'll be guided by the chairs on this.
Yeah, I mean, speaking not as a chair, I mean, I do think the fact that we used processes in the document's current title makes me weigh a bit towards that. And I'm not sure, Pete, I hear that connotation in it, to be honest. And I mean, we want to go back to Garner's modern American usage or something and try to determine whether he thinks I think it's okay as it is to ship forward. But Lisa, I don't know if you think it's okay. Okay. Lisa says also okay.
Chris.
I don't have a strong opinion either way. What I do think is I agree with John that we should decide before it goes to last call.
Okay,
Is
so
it
what
worth
I'm
doing
hearing
a show
is-
of hands on people's preferences?
Do people feel like they have enough information to actually volunteer an opinion on this in the room? Anybody think this? I mean, this is, what are we doing in this, right? We're arguing the semantics of the term procedures. Barry,
Oh God,
please.
really?
This is Barry Lee, but the two words sound the same to me.
Yeah, I think this
Don't
is-
make me know, never mind.
Yeah.
I don't know which hat I'm wearing. I mean,
Let me try this, Roman. Let's just ask: are there people here who feel that there is a meaningful distinction between these two words? Hands, please. Pete thinks there's a meaningful distinction. Anyone else? Hand up for that. John, okay, a little.
3.
So I see 2 to 3. Who in here thinks there is not a material distinction between procedures and processes?
Half dozen.
I-
So let me just make the one comment, and like I said, we can make it go away. The thing that concerned me was exactly what Roman said, is the BCP is about setting a process. That's correct. What the moderation team produces, their set of guidelines,
Those are
is
policies.
not a
That
process,
is policy.
or it's guidelines, or it's procedures, or
Okay.
it's something. That's the only distinction.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
But
Here's
we
what I'm
don't
gonna-
set that in this document.
Okay, here's
So-
what I'm going to do. I will read the document for that very specific purpose in terms of what the moderators deliver, and switch those back to procedures. Is that okay?
So just, I want to make it just a process. I'm going to wear the process hat. So I'm going to say this as AD. We working group last call this document. We had consensus for the text we have, and we pub rec'd it, and I have it in AD. So do we not have consensus on the words that we have? I'm holding the document, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're finessing. Got it. All right. Then I
So-
step back. I step
I
that
can
comment
read it for
back.
just that, and I will aim to hit the right. I asked for given that this is sort of it's an editorial issue. Allow the editors to deal with it editorially. And what I'll do, Roman, is I'll read it with Lars over the, we'll do one quick more read, maybe one thing. We'll send it if we think we need to send an update, we'll send an update, and we'll let you know when we're done.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Sorry, I misunderstood the issue in real time. I thought we were reopening the consensus. I did not appreciate we were talking about the things that were open from the 80 review. My fault.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Anything else people would like to talk about of these issues here? Because if not, like I said, I think we have already articulated our course of action going forward. Anything going once? Going, oh,
So,
what?
so I was just thinking, if this is gonna go to the last call list, do we need to pre-warn the last call administrators? So,
Roman, can you help us out with that? Yeah.
yeah, the only person I know who does it is Bron, but yeah. Okay, is it just Bron?
I believe at this point we had 2. I think we're down to 1. So unfortunately, it is Braun. Just to kind of more broadly make the statement, I mean, Chris and the moderator team know, is I've been in position to make a few more additions for all the different moderators, but I felt like we were getting closer on this one, and I don't want to make a lot of different personnel changes because when we roll this out, that's going to change everything again, and I wanted to reduce the flux. So I just want everyone in all those moderation roles to signal. I want to signal my deep appreciation, and if you could just continue to white knuckle it until we get to until we roll this out, and we'll have a very different world order, and we'll figure out what the staffing plan is associated with that. I mean, I deeply appreciate everyone's kind of work here. I'm just trying to minimize just a lot of different changes. And if it turns out this process drags out, I'll make the necessary personnel changes to support the teams. So again, deep appreciation for the last call moderation team and the IETF last call moderation team, the IETF discussion mailing list team.
I think, Elliot, you're welcome to take a seat. And I think, unless there's any other business that anyone would like to propose before the working group. Lisa, any parting remarks? I think we're done. I'll see you all on the IETF mailing list. Yes.
I just want to say thanks to the chairs because I think this is the first time we ever had a working group mailing list astroturfed, and I thought it was handled pretty well. Okay, great. Then, well, yes. So thank you very much because you guys had more of a job than I think you were expecting to get into after the documents were first adopted. I remember Jonathan going, "Oh yeah, this is going to be easy."
I think it went seamlessly. Thank you, everyone.
And I want to second this in case this is the last time we meet. Profound thanks to the chairs to facilitating the community in a very, very difficult conversation. And I appreciate everyone's ability to engage here and kind of in good faith and really be flexible and trying to understand everyone's position to get us to what will be a very new approach in the community for us, a consistent approach. So thank you for that.
MODPOD out. Thanks so much.